make sure you go to Facebook and look at heart-rending, meaning pictures enough to cut your heart. That's what heart-rending, to rend is to cut a carcass of beef up in the abattoir, right? To rend. Rendition is when a person is cut off from his family and his life and taken to a secret jail run by the CIA in Bulgaria or Romania. To rend. Heart-rending photographs of what? Of children slain by the baby killer, who arranged to have very nice portraits done of these children, brought to you by liveaction.org, Live Action News. And the people who like this sort of thing, and probably have a thrill of delight to think that one of them, these babies, might be black, right? Because people who are supporters of abortion want to help black people the most. And so they want black babies to be destroyed disproportionately to the black population. That's what Margaret Sanger wanted, and the devotees of reproductive liberty, as they call it, want to have that done. And one of these baby pictures looks like the child might be of the black race. But there they are lying face to face, two slain children burned alive in utero. And the people who are accusing Judge Roy Moore are the same people who approve of this message, right? They approve this message and solicit your vote in the Alabama Senate campaign. They are heart-rending pictures. And while you're there, you need to make sure to like Nooga Radio. We are the station of the free market. We are the free market station, the station that defends liberty and marriage. I have been, David Tulis, your host here, an unbroken defense of marriage from the beginning of the whole practice, the whole rise of gay shares in the marketplace and their peak in 2014 prior to the Obergefell versus Hodges decision. They have been in decline, of course, and shares are going down daily, queer shares. But they are Lugbutt. That's right, Lugbutt shares going down daily. But the pictures are there, and make sure you like us. Again, we're live on Facebook at Nooga Radio, and Live Action has produced these photographs. They are devastating pictures, and Judge Roy Moore will have none of it. Roy Moore, candidate for Senate, and the people against him, Gloria Allred, they are for the killing of babies. They are for the killing of babies. Okay, just get that in your head. You think that doesn't matter? And I want to say it that way with a bit of vigor and a little bit of passion, if you don't mind. Right, the calm, quiet, the slow man of Chattanooga, David Tulis, speaking vigorously with passion, because the accusers of this candidate are the supporters of that. If they will do anything they can, hook or crook, to keep the baby killing machine going, Planned Parenthood and all these private clinics around the country, do you think that they're going to be honest and speak of integrity regarding the personal space of women 40 years ago who alleged that Roy Moore squeezed a buttock or made a phone call to a girl's school? Is that first of all, are those crimes? And secondly, are the people who are making these accusations with their support in the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, are they to be believed? If they will accept the killing of babies like the ones that we can see right now at the Nooga Radio page on Facebook, do you think they are beneath stooping to tell a white lie about a candidate for the Senate? Well, I think you need just to reconsider and look at these tiny hands, the fingers still knitted together, or the little feet with their little creases and the 5 toes. Just look at those dead babies' feet and hands and ask yourself, what is the real story here? The real story is that, and of course we have to wait for the facts to come out. Just so you know, Mercy Junction Peace and Justice Center is having a fundraiser. There's $275 has been raised thus far for this. It's an online petition for money, and make sure you go there and support the work. We kept going amid a wild ride for the year. We kept doing the work of social justice, hospitality, equality, peacemaking, and interfaith connections. Interestingly, that these are doctrinaire progressive liberals, but they have in some things they do have a right perspective on, and that would be toward immigration and against police abuse. They're not in favor of police abuse, nor the whole system of thought, the whole blue identity system of thought that governs the executive branch of Chattanooga city government. So make sure you go there. I did make some points here of the things of which you might not approve, such as lug butt activism and animal rights and so on. There are some clear mistakes here theologically, but nonetheless there is a good intent. These are liberals, and they're trying to raise money for Mercy Junction Peace and Justice Center. And some of the things that this group does are hospitality hours, confronting white supremacy. There were activists in Charlottesville, and a Poor People's Campaign is something in process. Beth Foster and the Tennessee Coordinating Committee for the Poor People's Campaign, and it is going to be taking place the next year on the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's original call for campaign uniting poor people. So just make note of that. Now, I'm trying to get to something that I was kind of in the middle of working on with you, my listener. We are here, David Tulis, 92.7 FM, 95.3 HD4 FM, high definition digital FM. Make sure you tune in on that signal if you don't mind. That way, if you take a little trip out of town, we will be trailing after you with Sean Hannity and the CBS News and Bloomberg, the Bloomberg Business Hour at 2, or the Trade Markets Hour at 2, and also a very important program, the Bloomberg very, very current show with hundreds of Bloomberg reporters available for commentary to this network. That's the Bloomberg Policy, Power, and Politics show, or Politics, Policy, and Power show at 1. You can be traveling far pace, and our signal will be there with you. The real signal, right? This is not a podcast online. This is the real signal, 95.3 HD4, that digital signal. Your new car has digital radio. Make sure you sign in that way. This is David Tulis, and I argue that you should love your neighbor and buy local. And the number is 800-8949, 800-8949. Now, the thing I want to just try to explain this whole idea of the idea, and then there's a method of presenting the idea. The idea is of the proper use of law, and the way to deliver the idea is what's called administrative notice. I've been dealing with Grenda Harmer, the inmate, explain to him what administrative notice is. I'm debating with myself whether or not I should publish my letters to him as a commentary. I'm having trouble keeping up with the inflow of mail from him. Of course, it's snail mail. It comes in my mailbox at the top of the hill in the forest, and I can't keep up. I said, Grenda, please send me one letter every 10 days, and I'll publish it. But there's so much going on with him that I'm just kind of swamped, and I haven't published everything. But his life continues to be in danger from the Department of Corrections, and he is in a slave prison, a state-run slave prison in Morgan County here in Tennessee, and his life continues to be threatened. He says now there's a complaint been filed against him by a former cellmate and a person with whom there should have been an incompatible label placed to keep them apart. But anyway, there's a process I'm trying to describe to Grenda, and here's the process is administrative notice, and what it does, it lays down the law. And as I'm trying to figure out whether, like I said, maybe I just tell you about this and you don't have to try to read it, but there's some discussion. You might call it kind of lightweight legal analysis of this method. And an administrative notice is not making arguments. I keep saying, Grenda, your complaints do not need to be administrative notice. An administrative notice is an underlying document upon which complaints are based, right? Upon which grievances are based. So the grievance correspondence is one type. Beneath it is administrative notice, which is what? It is all the law and all the policy that the people who are the readers of this document and their superiors will read. And what it does, it denies good faith ignorance, good faith not knowing the defense. It denies the defense of not of unknowingly doing something, of unintentionally offending a person by the abuse of the law or the ignoring of the law or the rejection of the law. Administrative notice pins personal culpability upon the state actor, and that's why I'm suggesting, as I have in print at Nooganomics.com, our chief sponsor, administrative notice is a powerful defense. It's not like a petition for writ of mandamus or a petition for quo warranto. Those are old common law remedies. Petition for writ of habeas corpus, which there is provision in the statute for that, by the way. I've not read it, but I really would like to. What is habeas corpus and how does it work? Habeas corpus is when you're illegally locked behind a jail, in a jail, and you want to have immediate access to the judge. So that's the petition that you write. You want to be delivered of an illegal detention and illegal imprisonment or jailing. Administrative notice works is somewhat like that, but it goes sort of underneath those remedies. Those remedies are common law remedies, and judicial and administrative notice is administrative. It's a remedy within the realm of commercial government, of administrative government that we have today. We don't have a free state of Tennessee. We have, and in a way, we don't really have a government of Tennessee. We have the state of Tennessee, which is a separate, it's a distinct body. It is a distinct power apart from the government, and yet they're almost indistinguishable. And yet, by making that distinction, you can see how something operates apart from government itself. Government is innocent and harmless, and it looks out for you. It seeks your benefit. It's trying to protect you. But the state is another matter entirely. Now, that some would say that's just a poetic distinction, David Tulis, and doesn't matter. But I would like to suggest that the administrative notice does understand that distinction, and it goes over on the side of the state, and it gives notice about the government, the interest of the government, and the interest of the law, and the individual person, whether that person is a state slave, Grenda Hummer in Morgan County, or Robert Whipple, the inmate who tells me he can't get access to legal materials in Dunlap, just over the mountain. And what's in view in this method is the underlying claim that I think is of interest to you, and that is, what does the law allow in the way of state action, and what does the law not allow? Okay, what happens? See, the reason that this is important is because often state actors reject the law. They just act outside the law. They make claims that you could call ultra vires. Vires is view in Latin. Ultra is outside the view. State actors, and I remember I had a debate on this point with the Commissioner of Safety in Nashville on this point. I said, you have no authority to deny me a driver's license without a social security number. I don't have an SSN. You have to give me a social security number. You don't have any discretion in the matter. The statute is very clear. And he said, no, you have to go you have to go to another jurisdiction. You have to go to Washington or Baltimore. You have to apply for a social security number, which is welfare benefits in your seniority. Come back to Tennessee and to my jurisdiction, report to me that number, and then I'll give you a driver's license. I said, well, you don't have any authority to make me do that. There's no connection between you're doing your job. You just have a job to ask for the number, and if I don't have it, you have to accept my good faith response that I don't have one. And so there was litigation on that point, and the General Assembly changed the law to account for what I had to say about it. And so the Commissioner of Safety at the time, Mr. Green, I think he's in the banking sector nowadays, he acted outside of his authority. And it happens often. It's so easy to happen, and it will continue until someone says stop. You have to stop. Read what's written. Read what's written. And that's what with a master's degree in English from UT, no less, I have learned how to read. And I have learned to look up words, right? If I don't know the words, look up the legal meaning, look up the meaning as defined in the statute, and so on. And so we have people who carelessly slop over in their activity past the boundaries of the law. The law is a boundary, and you can't go past it. And officials, because of custom, because of what the prior office holder did, the prior person in the job did, they do things often routinely without thinking. In your case, if you, my listener, have a conflict with government, I'm willing to bet 80% chance that someone is acting outside of the written authority. 80% chance. And you can read it yourself, or you can hire a lawyer and charge and pay $500 for 2 hours of his reading the law. Okay, you can read it yourself. It's in English, by the way, and check yourself. Just give it some time. Don't immediately rush to the expert. Right? Just read it yourself. You are a literate man. You do have a public school diploma obtained after the 12th grade, so you can do it yourself. So administrative notice, what it does, it lays out all the law. And I told Mr. Harmer I really can't help him on writing it right now. I've got other projects going. But what happens is that the administrative notice on whether your issue, your my listeners' problems with the good people, or whether it's some other. What it does is it makes it, in laying out all the law and all relevant court cases and the regulations, just not making any kind of argument, just laying them all out. Laying them all out. That's all it does. Admin notice simply lays out the law, lays out, in other words, it draws a room in which the official has to operate. He can't step outside this door or jump out the window. He has to stay in this room, which delineates his authority. Okay, it's a room of his authority, and he can't reach outside of it. And of course, right now he is. Right? He's not. He's on the windowsill, and he's kicking and grabbing for you. You're out in the lawn, and he's grabbing you. You're in liberty out on the lawn, and he's grabbing over for you and saying, "You come in here and obey me." And you're saying, well, hold on. Here's the room, and there's a window here, and you can look out of it, but you can't reach out of it. See, that's kind of what's happening. So what happens in the use of this remedy is that you are detaching. How do I say it? You're making so clear the operation of the law that the individual can't freely operate outside it. And that's what he's doing now. And if you lay down the law, hopefully you're drawing him back to it so that he will not act against you outside of it, right? He won't act against you ultra vires outside of that law. This does touch the main question, though. Are we free, or are we bound by commercial government? We're bound by commercial government by custom and usage more than anything. But I think if you have a proper defense, it needs to be based on the laying down of the law, first of all. And I point out to Grenda Harm, I say, your lawsuit will show that in neglecting his office or imposing dangers upon you, he, chief warden, or the warden there, Warden Sean Phillips, is acting in bad faith, acting willfully, malignantly, with evil intentions, with careless and vile disregard of those people who are his responsibility, namely you. And the admin notice lays out the obligation and duty of Mr. Phillips. Separately, your grievances show that he has become detached from the written lines, which are his commands and authority. Your administrative notice secures him to the duties and rules of his office. And meanwhile, you're filing complaints, right? The complaints and grievances pull him away from these authorities. And then when you file the lawsuit, you're saying, you see there's this gap here. The actions about which I complain are separate from the authority, which I've already told him about, which is under admin notice. The authority limits it. So because there's that gap, and you've shown that gap ahead of time, you can then sue and show what? That's right, bad faith. Bad faith is poison. It is poison to be shown that you're acting in bad faith, because bad faith is, as I tell this inmate, is acting willfully and malignantly with evil intentions. There are about 15 or 25 synonyms for bad faith. If you look them up, if you read Nooganomics.com, you will have already encountered these words. They are remarkable, and so that is something just to pay attention to. Also, pay attention to the following. There's a story going to be coming out Monday at TV9, and here's the headline: Driving While Black, Chattanooga PD works with Black community to improve relationships. The reporter is Alana LaFlore, and her few words of type in teasing this story are: tensions are high between police and the Black community. A new NPR poll, she says 60% of African Americans believe they or someone in their family were unfairly stopped by police. But do traffic stops for driving while black happen in Chattanooga? Some say absolutely. Monday at 5, News Channel 9, Alana LaFlore shows us what community members say it will take to improve relations and build trust with police. This is important, and I want to tease you to our competition, because the story is very important. Walking while black, driving while black, extraordinarily important. And I think there are reforms that are called for. And one would be, of course, replacing Neil Pinkston. He does not care about the state victimization of innocent people. He does not care about that. We have two examples from this year actions, police actions in 2016 that show this, and a pending lawsuit against city government by Hanson Melvin, the future mayor. By the way, he is the future mayor of Chattanooga. And separately, Todd Starnes Fox News has a great little piece about why the Air Force is punishing a colonel, experienced combat pilot, Colonel Leland Bohannon, suspended from command because he refused to publicly affirm the same-sex spouse of a retiring subordinate. And the story by Thomas Starnes tells about him. He was on the verge of being promoted to one-star general, but he was punished when the subordinate filed an equal opportunity complaint, later substantiated by investigators. His career is likely over, and he will likely have to retire as a colonel instead of as a general, according to First Liberty Institute attorney Michael Berry. David Tulis, Nooga Radio. What is the future of the state and the future of Chattanooga? That's next.
Traffic, news, and information. Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Anyway,